The Paleo Diet, very, very popular. Many people following it. There's many variations of it, many books about it, and it seems to have taken the country by storm. I'm Dr. Greg Ellis. I want to talk about the Paleo Diet. Now, in my research about the Paleolithic Diet, for 2 million years, 99% of the food eaten by Paleolithic man came from meat. And they particularly enjoyed the fattiest part of the meat. Now, I had a question today from one of my readers about the Paleo Diet that she's been on. And some of the questions were related to the different things that she was eating. I was particularly intrigued by the fact that, for example, on the turkey that she ate, she was removing the skin. And I wondered why. And I'll get that answer back, but I know what the answer is already. What typically happens today when people go on low-carb diets, which is argued that the paleo is that they also go low-fat. They're still afraid of fat. They're scared of the fat. They bought into the idea that fat causes heart disease and causes obesity and all these other things. The paleo diet that I'm seeing, to me, is on the fringe, on the edge of being a low-carb diet. One of the reasons I think this has happened is because the paleo diet advocates have been attracted to some of these exercise programs that have become very popular, like CrossFit and a couple of the others. And they believe that carbohydrates fuel their muscle contractions, and therefore they want to get high levels of glycogen in their body, and you can only do that, of course, as if you consume carbohydrates. So this harks back to all the glycogen loading things that people do and have done now for more than 50 years in the belief that carbohydrates power your muscle contraction. So to get that necessary carbohydrate to power back and fuel up your glycogen stores, you've got to have a certain amount of carbohydrate. So they keep carbohydrate levels at a reasonably strong amount. Some of the diets that I've looked at are just about 25% of their calories as carbohydrate, which I have found is just on the edge of being a low-carb diet. But they do this so they can get up their glycogen levels. Now, the Meiji warriors, they live mostly on meat, milk, and blood. That's all they ate, all they eat. And that would be pretty strong Paleolithic, except Paleolithic man did not do much milk or probably do blood, but just did a lot of meat. They're all good, though. So another question that was posed, the person said, well, I'm not seeing any information on your site about vegetables and fruit. And, of course, you won't, except to the extent that I talk about the effects of those food substances on glycation. Now, if you've forgotten what glycation is, that's when blood sugar, glucose, binds to the proteins that make up your body, and then you glue yourself together, and all your degenerative diseases are coming from this process called glycation. Glucose is what does it. So I want to keep glucose out of my body, and I can only do that by not eating carbohydrates. Therefore, you got to stay away from carbohydrates. You got to restrict them. Now, there are obviously differences in the carbohydrate content of different vegetables and different fruits. Fruits, however, generally are very high in carbohydrate, and by definition, they have fructose in them. They're 50% glucose and 50% fructose. And fructose is a nasty actor, too. So that's a problem. I can't tell you the last time I ate a piece of fruit. It has to be 15 years. I don't eat fruit at all. And vegetables, I don't eat many of those either. Obviously, I grew up eating this kind of diet. I like mashed potatoes. Do I eat many mashed potatoes? No. Do I eat many potatoes at all? No. I used to love corn on the cob in the summer. I'd say maybe last summer I had three pieces, 3 ears. That's it. I just don't eat those things anymore. When I became aware of the dangers of glucose, I started really changing these things. And I see no nutritional need for fruit and for vegetables. That all evolved with the idea of vitamins and minerals. about 100 years ago, that we need a certain amount of vitamins and minerals. Look, Paleolithic man and all the peoples who've been hunter and gatherers, and the Indians, for example, the American Indians, lived on mostly just meat. They didn't eat fruits and vegetables, and they all did fine. So I don't really buy into the idea of the need for all these vitamins and minerals. The Arctic explorer Stephenson talks about the guys who went to the South Pole and the English, who were well funded, took all their foods with them, their foodstuffs with them, and another group was trying to get there faster. They just lived off the fat of the land, eating seal meat and things like that. Well, the well-funded group all died of scurvy, every one of them. Vitamin C deficiency, and the other guys living just on seal meat and other things they could hunt didn't even have a case of scurvy. So there's just no need for these things. So back to the paleo diet. I think the paleo diet is it's interesting. It's being evolved to meet the needs of these exercise guys in their belief that they need carbohydrates and glycogen to fuel all their exercise activities. And I just don't think that diet is truly paleo. And because of their belief also that you need certain vitamins and minerals, they argue for a wide variety of different vegetable matter, and nuts and beans and things like that. Well, I don't eat beans at all. So I tried to steer this person on the straight path, and I don't know how well she'll do with this. I also advise drinking heavy whipping cream as a source of fat, and that's good stuff. And she wondered if it was a good idea to not eat her lunch and drink the whipping cream instead. And she could do that. She should get a little protein in there, so maybe she can have some meat. But she's lost a lot of weight. She's done good, as you would expect. It's certainly a calorie-reduced diet, the way she's constructed it. But I answered her and told her that, no, you don't need fruits and vegetables. So I think we'll see what happens. It took me a while to give that stuff up. I had a hard time letting go of the idea that I needed fruits and vegetables in my diet. It took me many years to get there. But eventually I did, and I stopped, and, I'm turning out okay. This Wednesday I'm going to be 64 years old, and I think I'm doing all right for an old guy on a year away from Medicare and from Social Security. Therefore, I think it's working okay. I'm on no medications at all. I don't take any drugs. I don't need any drugs. I don't have anything that's wrong with me that I would require that. The average person my age is on at least 5 different medical drugs for things like blood pressure and cholesterol. And of course, I don't even care what my cholesterol is. It's totally irrelevant. The thing that matters to me is the amount of glycated proteins. And if I stay away from glucose, I don't get those, and then my body doesn't break down. So that is my chat on the paleo diet. I think you have to be careful of some of the recommendations that are being made out there, and watch what you're doing and pay attention. I'm Dr. Greg Ellis.